nerds, to another episode of Between Nerds. Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear the buttery goodness in your ears? This is our new mic, and with me, joins me
Drew Elias. Hi guys, welcome back. We got a new Yeti mic by Blue. We're really excited. We are recording on bidirectional, a setting made specifically for us, it seems, because we did notice the last couple weeks that the audio quality wasn't exactly up to our snuff.
We were trying to do so many ways of just trying to record where it'll be optimal for you guys to make sure you guys have some nice hearing audio in your ears. But besides that, did you guys hear that new intro song that we have? Thank you. Shout out to Thomas Sapian. Mm-hmm. Man, thank you so much. We love that song. It sounds so good.
Shout out to Thomas. And at the forefront, we haven't been doing this enough, and we feel a little bad, but I've been getting a lot of comments personally about our graphics and our logo. So we wanted to give a shout out to Javi. Shout out to Slime Guts on Twitter.
Amazing work. I love our fucking logos.
Yeah.
Both of them. The orange and purple, they're amazing.
And I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but like we are working to try to make product like stickers. Maybe Lloyd really wants to do long sleeve shirts. Mm-hmm. I'd be down to do hoodies, t-shirts, whatever.
Absolutely. And I think we should, like right now, I guess we want to focus on just marketing. Mm-hmm. So stickers will come in first and stuff like that.
The Twitter's been popping lately.
That Twitter's been good, man. Thank you very much. 44 votes. 44 votes on the poll and Erase one.
Yeah, Erased One, people really like the theme of spooky anime, well, gore anime, as I think how I marketed it on the Twitter. So Erased won the poll, but the next 3 weeks we are going to be watching the top 3 winners of that poll. So next week is going to be Erased. The week after that we're going to watch Berserk 1997, and then the week after that was what am I missing? What was it? Not Elfen Lied.
No,
Elfen Lied.
What was the other one? Erase Parasite.
Parasite. So then we're going to be watching Parasite.
You know what's even more spooky?
What?
That we're getting our first spooky anime. Well, not our second one, but it's going to be our 13th episode.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
So it's going to come out the second week of October. The first full week of October, we're going to have our 13th episode. Wish it landed on a Friday. That'd be cool.
That would have been good.
But we're excited. This past week, we did watch Shokugeki no Soma. But before we get to that, we do want to make our usual plugs. Please send us emails, comments, questions, concerns to the email betweennerds@gmail.com. That is BETWEENNERDS@gmail.com.
Podcast@gmail.com.
Podcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and also thank you for keep following us. Like I said, 44 votes. That's awesome. Follow us on Twitter @BetweenNerds. Just drop us anything you want to do. If you want to talk shit, if you want to talk some good anime, let us know.
I think it's funny that we have more people participating in the polls than we do followers.
Yes, yeah, that is
so everyone that's voting, please just follow. I don't know what that's all about because
yeah, everybody that votes. I feel like the people that follow us or they're listening, they're just making their friends to go vote for something that they want to see.
Honestly, I don't mind it because at least like people are sharing the content and it's getting around. And I do think it is pretty cool and fairly novel that when we have local people in the El Paso area mentioning the Twitter and the podcast, they're like, it's a local emphasis on local, like anime nerd content podcast. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I find that really unique, which is cool because we know of similar podcasts with more like nerd-esque topics because there was the Midnight Gamecast that we mentioned 2 months ago that won our giveaway.
Yeah, really good episodes, by the way, guys. Shout out to Goodnight Gamecast. I was listening to one at work the other day.
Which one did you listen to?
They were talking about Monster Hunter.
Were they?
Yeah, Monster Hunter is really good. And they were emphasizing that, yeah, it's a game that came out a while back.
Right.
But it's so good. Like, it's so nice to go in there and just, like, kill some monsters, you know?
Oh, before I forget, speaking of video games, the winner of last month's giveaway, J. Alejandro Garcia, S. Senpai Wolf, on both Twitter and Twitch. He did give us a shout out on both, which was really cool. He won the Grave of the Fireflies candy tin.
You saw him personally. How did he like it?
It's funny because number one, he he gave me shit for not including him on the Darling in the Franxx episode. But at the same time, we had like 4 people that could have been on that episode because that was fairly popular. Valentin wanted to be a part of that episode. Jay wanted to be a part of that episode. And there's a couple of other people. But honestly, that one it's so popular on its own. We kind of didn't need you guys. So.
It's so crazy.
And, he had not seen Grave of the Fireflies. So I briefly explained to him that it was a, what's the studio? Why am I blanking out?
A1?
No. For Grave of the Fireflies?
Oh, for Grave of the Fireflies, it was, the same as...
What's his name? This is the guy that made Spirited Away. What's his name?
Ghibli?
Ghibli. So I'm trying to explain to him that it's a Studio Ghibli movie. A Studio Ghibli movie, and then I'm watching his Twitch stream later that night, and whoever the fuck else he had on stream was like explaining to him like, you don't know what Grave of the Fireflies is? Like, yeah, it's a Studio Ghibli movie. How fucking dare you? And I thought that was fucking funny.
Oh, okay.
But so shout out to Jay.
Javi, like, again, we love our fucking logos. We're still working with him, as far as working on some other logos that can help us make, some stickers and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
Something we do like about the podcast is that we are, even since the pilot, we tried to emphasize that we are locally based, and we're trying to emphasize that those El Paso roots and stuff like that.
El Paso talent, some local talents.
Right. So by the time we have Javi making us additional graphics and stuff like that, if anyone locally in the El Paso area knows how to make like stickers or like apparel and stuff like that, like, please hit us up. We're trying to support local, and we're not even trying to make money off it, to be honest. It's more of just a promotional thing for ourselves. Like, I'm just trying to walk around with a t-shirt.
Yeah. My own podcast t-shirt.
Yeah. This isn't about, like, I don't care if we neg on the t-shirts a little bit. This isn't about making money, to be honest.
And but thank you, everybody. Thank you all the El Paso talent. Hopefully we find some more. So hopefully we can introduce you guys to some more El Paso talent. Speaking of, I was at Tin Man the other day. Well, you know what? We'll get to this in the Nerd Down. Okay. So we watched Shokugeki no Soma. And by the way, we're recording on Saturday, guys, not on Sunday. So we got our homework done early today, this time. So Shokugeki no Soma Food Wars.
Right.
2015.
It like season 5 ended like 2 days ago.
Okay.
Like the very last and that's the series finale ended like 2 days ago. So this is like really good timing for us to be watching it. Maybe eventually we'll watch subsequent seasons, but what did you think of season 1? What were your initial reactions to Shokugeki no Soma?
Man, I did not know it was gonna be this horny too, and it gets me wondering about our nerds,
The past 2 weeks.
The past 2 weeks, just being horny.
Darling in the Franxx, horny as fuck. We got some amazing clips out of it.
Yeah.
About fucking orphan fucking. And now it's people having, like, metaphorical / literal, like, orgasms to food.
Yes, and it gets me thinking, like, is the writers...
Okay.
Are they like, dude, we need to make food interesting? It's like, do we just put some horny shit out there?
I feel like that would be my initial reaction when watching Food Wars, but like the writing in Food Wars is kind of unique. Like the guy writing it, Mr. Yuta Tsukura, is like, it seems creative. You know what I mean? It seems like he does know a good amount of food, and the way the protagonist can like subsequent like food preparation, like it's always a trick, kind of like how he gets out of a Shokugeki, a food war, right?
Yeah.
It seems smarter once you actually watch it, but if you don't know what it is, like, it sounds pretty dumb.
Yeah, and then it gets me thinking, like, okay, maybe they're just they're emphasizing how good it is, and when they're doing this emphasis, they're just going into an orgasmic...
Their clothes rip off. There's a bunch of moaning and a lot of, like...
And it's so funny because I have right here a V notes. That's my girlfriend V. Shout out to you, baby. I love you. She's like, how come they didn't have the old lady be going to like in a horny moment? How come they didn't show her chi-chis? But they end up, it's like in episode 4 when, they meet the dorm room lady. They make her eat it, but they make her go to a flashback when she was on a date and they're making her all young and shit. So it is just fucking crazy. But anyways,
it is a lot of fan service. And I feel like the fan service gets less so through subsequent episodes because even like by the end of season 1, there's not nearly as much fan service. The first 15 minutes of episode 1 is just fan service.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just something to like, hey, watch this food anime I'm trying to show you, but you know, I have to catch their attention kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, again, if we put all that horny shit on the side, there's a pretty good story in there.
The dialogue is funny, especially in episode 1, because like there's a businesswoman that's trying to like take over the main character Soma's family restaurant, but she's speaking in moan. She's always talking about meat and like she's just it's supposed to make you feel like, hey, this is like half a step away from being a hentai.
Is it? What is the girl's name? The girl from his town, the little girl, the girl that tastes the rice. Their first battle with his dad.
Yeah. Oh,
Mayumi?
Yeah, Mayumi.
Mayumi? Is it Mayumi?
Yeah, I think it's Mayumi.
Yeah, and she tries because her. Okay, so the story revolves around a kid, Soma.
Right.
And his dad, this is how the first episode is like, their restaurant, correct?
Right.
And they make good comfort food. And the dad, the parent of Soma, Soma's father, they battle it out. And they do rice, and they have Mayumi taste it, taste it. And also, Soma likes to make all these weird, like, concoctions, and the first, like, rapey scene with the octopus.
Squid with peanut butter.
Yeah, squid with peanut butter.
Because the imagery is supposed to make you think of, like, sexually what food would be doing to you. So, like, initially, they're just serving up ramen to guests, and, like, it's just an explosion of taste, so it's an explosion of, like, an orgasm, right?
Yeah.
So then, Soma likes to experiment with his dishes, so he makes a squid and peanut butter dish, gives it to Mayumi, and the imagery there is that like her taste buds are being raped by said
violated.
Squid. Yeah, violated is I think the language they use by said squid.
So now it just puts you in the way that this anime is gonna go. Good food is you're gonna have a fucking horny scene or orgasmic scene with whoever tries it. Most of the time are female characters. And
no, honestly, I don't think. I think it's 50-50. I do think it's
70-30. I'll say 70-30.
The judge panels, gender wise, are about 50-50, and they do show a lot of the men like also getting naked and like.
Yes, but I say 70-30. Not gonna change my mind on that one.
But like, and the women's proportions are like. One of the issues Karen has with anime is the proportions of the women, because like you see Japanese women, like literal pictures of Japanese women, or when Karen went to Japan, like the women aren't shaped like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, they're not?
These women are all like...
They're not? So why are we trying to go to Japan for?
36 double Ds with like a 18-inch waist.
Yeah, and how like the clothes is it almost looks like it's made for huge tits because it just cups like under the tits.
Yeah, and then there's a buoyancy that isn't even like physically possible.
Yeah, they're all like.
If anyone's ever seen High School of the Dead, like the bullet between the titty flapping scene, this is how every pair of breasts like behave in Shokugeki no Soma.
I think some nerd was like doing a deep dive into that video. I'm like, dude, if that were possible, her tits will be breaking the sound barrier.
Imagine how much that would hurt. Like, isn't there like literal connective tissue inside of breast? Like, imagine like,
oh yeah, it's like a whip.
Yeah, that would hurt.
Oh fuck yeah. But go ahead, keep going. How does this? How are we introduced to this fucking anime?
So, Soma and his dad Joichiro are the owners / cooks inside of the what's the name of the restaurant? Yukihira.
Yukihira, yeah, is the last name.
Yukihira restaurant. And then out of nowhere, the dad's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go work with a friend out of town, so we're gonna send you to a culinary school." And then Mr. Soma is only doing this to make his dad happy and try to prove to his dad that he's a worthwhile cook. So obviously he's got daddy issues like from the forefront.
And you know what? You know what's crazy? I saw it another way, because at one point, when you were saying about that businesswoman, they wanted to like buy out the restaurant, or they wanted them out of business. when they trash the place, the next day, his dad, Soma's dad, tells him, is like, hey man, we're gonna be close for a while. An old partner of mine said, there's a business opportunity or something. Because then he asked Soma, he's like, what are you planning to do after you graduate? He's like, oh, we'll just work at the restaurant. And then I saw like this moment of the dad at the other end of the phone being like, I thought so. It's like, I don't want you to do that. So he convinced him like, hey, go to school instead.
And like Joichiro, Father of the Year, just dips the fuck out without even telling his son.
Yeah, it's like Hunter x Hunter is like, yeah, peace out, bro.
What this reminded me of, and I'll talk about later in Jujutsu no Kaisen 2, but why in anime can't they ever have both parents being alive or in the picture? Every anime, I can't remember the last time, both of like the main character's parents are in the picture. Mm-hmm. Like every single anime I can think of, like you even think of old anime, like Naruto,
Pokemon.
He was an orphan, Pokemon,
his mom and Mr. Mime,
Bleach, One Piece, what did we watch? Darling in the Franxx are literally all orphans.
Yeah. Anything. And you know what's crazy? I believe that's, dude, when was the last time we saw some people making out and having sex in anime until fucking Domestic Girlfriend came out?
I thought you were going to say in person, and I was like, I cannot remember the last time I saw two people fucking all day.
No, like, or even referred to without being hentai or some shit like that. Like, Domestic Girlfriend kind of like, it started with a sex episode. It started with them just already having sex. And we see in all these anime that they grab hands and they almost kiss or they never kiss. Yeah. So I think that would be a good idea to start another anime. Hey, dude, both parents are in the picture.
But is there...
you know, like it's so... I know what you're saying. It's so...
What are they saying culturally? Are they saying that, like, you can't have a healthy relationship long term unless it's a hentai? Like, what?
No, I just... It's just like struggle, bro. I don't know.
Anyways, so Soma's basically an orphan. Like his dad just abandons him. There's no mom even spoken about. He goes to Totsuki Culinary Academy to try to impress his dad. Mm-hmm. And so then on the opening ceremony, he's a transfer student. He walks straight up to the mic on the very first day and is like, hey, I'm going to be the best cook here. A place with like a 90% fail rate. Mm-hmm. He just walks straight up to the mic and he's like, hey, I'm going to be the best cook here. All y'all lame. Like, suck my dick. Bye.
And honestly, dude, I kind of connected into that because I was trying to go, like, when I was bartending, I was like, should I go to like school just to like learn a little bit more, like to get like bartender school? Mm-hmm. And I was like, when I went and stuff like that, you see people that they never attended bar, but they're taking the classes first. Right. And I can completely see that. And that you can also see that like in the cooking, industry.
They do bring that up in multiple episodes that Soma is at like a severe, severe is the wrong word, but he's at a very much an advantage because he's worked a line before.
Yes.
Like he has worked in the kitchen before. He mm-hmm. knows what's up. He knows practically like what a customer needs, how to function under pressure. Mm-hmm. And like, so even in the earlier episodes, every single judge is just like, he knows how to work a kitchen. Like mm-hmm. he's way better than everybody else in this room just because he's been in a real kitchen before.
Absolutely. And then, and the other side of that coin, like you have some people that are like, oh, well, I went to fucking culinary school, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, where'd you work? It's like, well, I went to culinary school. It's like, that doesn't fucking mean shit. It's like, you went to culinary school to learn technique, to learn this, to learn your different fucking pans, plates, and all that bullshit. But it doesn't train you to be a fucking cook in the line.
They have no practical skills.
Yeah.
That's like, I knew a lot of people like this as an undergrad that like, had not worked a real job until after they graduated with their bachelor's, and they just don't have just basic functional
even social skills.
Yeah. They don't know how to function in an office. Like mm-hmm. It's like when me and Valentine were talking about Agretzko in season 2 with the crazy guy that like doesn't know how to function in an office. He's all yelling at people in emails and stuff like mm-hmm. that. That's exactly how that is. Mm-hmm. He has no personable skills because he's never worked a job before.
Correct. Yeah. And so he enters he wins. He gets into the school because
on a recommendation.
On the recommendation of
his dad.
His dad?
They don't say that in this episode. So initially he goes to participate in the exam, and that's where we meet Miss Erina,
Yes.
who's the granddaughter of the
God tongue, please.
Yeah, she is known as the God Tongue because of that's like each cook has a skill, and her taste is that
Yeah, like for a very young age, she had like a exquisite palate, and she was tasting for like for like big restaurants and shit. But you know, it's all fucking.
It's anime.
It's the power system of this anime.
Yeah. The
Yes.
power system, like, when you think of Black Clover and just everyone has like a specific type of magic that they use, in Food Wars, it's what your special cooking
Specialty,
skill is.
yeah.
Like, there's characters that have good taste of heat when cooking meat. There's people that are spice experts.
Yeah,
There's
or
people-
like Megumi? No, what is her name?
Who? Meat?
Megumi.
Oh.
Megumi, she's like, she knows how to treat like the food like with hearts.
Yeah, she can
like,
treat your soul with her food. Like,
and that's how the power system is. That's what I was telling V. I was like, it's funny because they make it look like powers, but it's just the power system of this anime. But nobody really has powers. They're just cooking.
and that's the thing about Food Wars. It's a shonen, like, genre. It's a shonen genre anime because, like, what are the basic qualities of a shonen? Like, they're made for boys. Like, shonen literally means for young boys. It's a bunch of horny...
No parents.
Yeah, no parents. It's a bunch of horny, like, women orgasming off of food. There's a power system.
Like your journey to get better kind of thing.
Every female character just develops some weird infatuation with the main character. So there's some harem elements in there.
So yeah, back to that episode that you said that we meet God Tongue. She cooks him because she really likes his dish.
She cucks him?
Yeah.
She treats him as a cuck? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
following.
She treats him like a cuck.
Okay.
Yeah. And but yeah, because she really likes her dish, which is the rice dish with the little jelly broth that melts over the transforming. What was it? Transforming what? Furikake?
Yeah, furikake.
Yeah.
So, she's so bougie that, like, a little, like, rice and egg dish, like, isn't really gonna impress her. So, Soma is able to make a furikake, which is like a type of gelatin, almost, like...
It's pretty much a rice dish, and we hear this a lot in the anime. Like, it's a rice dish that you pretty much season the rice, but he made it a transforming one because of what he did with the gelatin, with the broth.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed, like, when you put menudo in the fridge and it gets all jelly.
I thought that was the fat, right? It gets
because of the gelatin of the bones and the cartilage and all that stuff.
Because that's how fucking Jello's made. They're taking the cartilage of the bone.
Yes.
Okay, I'm following.
Yeah, so then he cooled that off, cubed it or diced it, and then put it on top of hot rice, which then the rice and the egg.
The heat from the rice made the gelatin melt,
Correct.
and that made like this super bomb egg rice dish.
Little simple rice dish. Yes.
And she had her little orgasm food moment.
Yeah.
But she was so like offended that some peasant was like making good food that she failed him anyways.
Yeah, like, because at the beginning, they just shitting on him because he's from a family restaurant, from a diner.
Yeah,
and not a restaurant.
They talk about that like in every restaurant, in like every episode, basically. Everyone's like, but the thing about it is his dad's a real good cook. So like even the practical like home dishes that the restaurant are making are like gourmet meals taken from other regions. And Soma doesn't even realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he doesn't know.
Yeah,
because he's not refined. And they say this all along the anime. It's like, yeah, he's good, but he just needs...
He has no knowledge of like even what he's making. He just knows like, oh, well, my dad taught me how to make this super bomb dish. Well, do you know who the fuck you're... Well, we'll talk about that later.
He doesn't even know who his fucking dad
he
is.
doesn't even... His dad's, like, super fucking special in and of his own right. Like...
Yeah. And, oh, by the way, that's why I brought it up. Like, if you notice on that episode when she lies about how she liked it, what is it? The Satan of food? Or the Satan... One of the main chairmans... was listening in on what happened. And I think that's what I thought. I thought that he got him in, not his dad.
Oh,
because he was overhearing the whole thing with the egg, with a what is it?
There was a special 10 member listening, but I think he was just spying on him because the chancellor of the school knows that his granddaughter is kind of a little bit of a bitch.
Oh, okay,
she's a little cunty. So like he had like a spying on her test to like see if she was really failing people. But the chancellor of the academy does know who Soma's dad is, and he knows that his dad was a bomb cook. So I think like it was a lot of name recognition that got him into the school.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I thought it had to do with something like that. But then, do we start the school already?
Yeah. So we start, but then we meet so we meet the second.
There's a lot of characters in this anime, and
way too many characters.
But all these characters get a little sauce to them. Everybody gets a little sauce.
Everyone gets like a 10-minute backstory. Everyone gets like their own food war like fight. Everyone gets like their own time in the spotlight. So episode 3, we meet the second girl introduced, Megumi, and she's like from like a rural northern Japanese village. So she's not all that metropolitan culture. Like she's a little bit of a country girl. Yeah, she's a country girl.
Yeah, and yeah, they emphasize this a lot, and she gets a nice story, dude. I love her backstory,
and it's smart that they're able to tie in where she's from so often with her dishes.
Every time why she is how she is. It's so weird. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. My bad.
Well, so you mentioned briefly that she cooks for somebody's soul, but that's because like she was made in a really loving, like closely knit, like family community, right? So when she was taught to cook, it was to treat people like so you're tired, you're having a rough day, you've got a lot of shit to do. She's going to cook you an energetic light meal that's going to like put some pep in your step and like get you
hug
going.
Your heart a little bit. Yeah.
And so Megumi's dope, and then
I thought of her of a downer at the beginning because she's about to get expelled because she's like in probation, like academic probation or something like that.
Right. So the academy fails 90% of the people in the school. So she's obviously in that 90% that's about to drop out of the fucking school.
Again, Hunter, just killing people left and right.
Absolutely.
They just kill people left, and they just expel them, but.
And that's how she meets Soma. She, on the first day of school, has to make a dish with a partner, and her partner ends up being Soma, which is how she gets introduced to the main character.
Correct.
So then the dish they make is so Soma in the last episode already called everybody else in the school a cuck and like said that he's going to be the head chef in charge. So people start sabotaging his dishes actively. And we know that even the professors, while tasting your food, are going to critique it heavily. So some people leave like a pan open and that ruins his chicken.
Yeah. Megumi and Soma, they're partners in this little almost lab in school, like my lab partner.
Yeah.
And they meet the Frenchie, Chappelle, the chef Chappelle, which is the chef that never smiles. And they, like they're emphasizing how judgmental these people are gonna be.
That's the name of the episode too.
And yeah, I believe, I can't remember what they made. It
was some kind of stew broth thing, and it's a beef bourguignon.
Oh, okay, yes, they do that one. So as they're boiling the meat to get it tenderized and stuff, or as they do their stew,
it's just a beef stew, basically.
Yeah, they let the lid open, kind of. No, they didn't watch.
Some students that wanted to sabotage Soma while he wasn't paying attention, they opened the pot
and salted the shit out of it.
Yeah. And that almost ruins it. And this is where the anime starts trying to show like, hey, this is about food. It sounds kind of dumb, but like we're going to show you how smart it is by showing innovative ways that the character gets out of the situation. He dumps honey on the beef broth.
No, I think when they salted the stew, they did a different thing. So they got they salt their dish and they make something at the last minute. They make something else at the last minute, and they make a beef dish that they tenderize with pineapple. But they used
yeah.
a pineapple tendering.
No. They used honey, but the logic was that when Soma ruined some food when he was a kid, he used pineapple juice to tenderize it. So then he looked up what chemical it was that tenderized it.
And he used honey, correct?
Yeah, he used
correct.
honey in this dish to tenderize the meat because since they left the pan open, the meat was all like fucked up.
Mm-hmm. And so it fixed the dish.
Mm-hmm.
It fixed the dish. Chappelle tries it, and he fucking smiles, obviously.
Yeah. And he has his little mini orgasm moment.
Yeah. Which was very not really horny because it was a male. So they just show him like, like bathing in honey or something like that.
And a lot of the older characters, too, they try not to make it all weird and sexualized.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's the end of episode 3.
That's the end of episode 3.
Mm-hmm. And then we go... Dude, episode 4 started out so dark.
Yeah.
Like in the dorms. Like, I know it was supposed to be night, but like that episode, it just looked fucking ridiculously dark.
So the dorm he ends up staying in is like some super old Victorian era building. Mm-hmm. And it's all dark and creepy and there's crows and spiders and stuff everywhere. So, what ended up happening was he had a handful of paperwork while walking to the dormitory that explained what he had to do once he got there. And one of the pieces of paperwork described that he had to cook for the house mother and she was going to critique his meal to see if he could actually stay there.
Uh-huh.
So he shows up and this old lady who's like the mother of the dormitory, Fumio, is the caretaker of the Polar Star dormitory, and she's trying to explain to him like, hey, did you bring ingredients so that you can cook this meal for me and I can decide if you want to stay? And he's like, no, what are you talking about? And so...
Because he initially had lost some information, right?
Right. It like flew, the paperwork described what he had to do, like flew away while he was walking to the dormitory. So he ends up cooking a meal for her based off just scraps he finds in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And that is what allows him to stay in the dormitory. And then we find out that a girl that we had already met, Megumi, is also staying at the Polar Star dormitory. And they try to show it as a close-knit family. We are going to follow the Polar Star dormitory throughout the rest of the anime.
Mm-hmm, correct. Yeah, they're pretty much introducing the crew.
Yeah. Like, this is going to be the core crew. They live together in one house. They're a family. They support each other.
Dude, and out of nowhere, they hit you with, like, fucking 6 characters.
Oh, yeah. It's so much.
Just, like, fucking 6 characters. The 2 dudes, the little guy with the glasses that's always sleepy.
There's 2 douches that always fight each other. There's some nerd with glasses that they always
tired.
They
always fighting in his room
because they bully him into letting them use his room to turn up. There's a girl that fosters a lot of live animals to produce like unique meat. There's a girl that has like rice malt. And this same girl, because she's malting rice, has liquor on her all the time.
Yeah,
and it's I think the funny part of this episode was supposed to be Soma walking in on Megumi taking a bath.
Oh, yeah.
So she's all embarrassed, and she also has a crush on Soma. So the rest of the episode, she's dealing with, like, being shy around him.
Correct.
Which is, I don't know.
And she's already super shy. Like, she's always, like, because, again, she's, like, almost about to fail. Like, if she gets one more failing grade, like, she's out or some shit like that.
Like, she's thankful to him for saving her dish and, like, saving her, like, staying at this school. But the main new character we meet in this episode is we are introduced to a cast of characters called the Elite 10. Mm-hmm. These are the 10 best cooks at this school. And Soma, like, convinced that he's going to be the number 1 cook at this school. His goal for the rest of the anime is just going to be to defeat the Elite 10 and become head chef in charge.
Correct. And I guess like these Elite 10, they get assigned a dorm, I guess, and their assigned elite guy is the 7th chair, right? Which is Isiki.
Yeah. Isiki, Satoshi Isiki. Mm-hmm. And his character quirk in writing is that he's always naked. Like, this character is just always wearing just an apron.
And yeah.
It's, I don't know. Even while tending to a garden to get fresh vegetables, he's just in an apron.
He wears his little, like...
traditional Japanese underwear.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's fucking weird. But yeah, everybody gets assigned that, and that turned out to be who Soma's elite was, the Isiki. And They cook something. Right at the dorm, they have a little cook-off.
They have an informal shokugeki, an informal food war to make a spring-based dish, and both of them were based off of mackerel, I think.
Mackerel, yeah. And they use this technique poêle, which is a French for pouring over.
A lot of these dishes are based off of French like dishes, because France is like the king of the culinary world, right?
Yeah, and actually I was looking up like the school. It's the Cordon Bleu in Paris. Their tuition is about 41,000 per year, includes
like dollars?
books. Yeah. A year, and I think to actually have a degree, I think you have to go there 4 years.
What the fuck?
I think so.
So you're getting a whole ass bachelor's in cooking, like grade A French
Cooking
cuisine.
technique, yeah.
That is disgusting.
And not just not French cuisine, but it, like I said, they teach you like dicing, cutting. Like they teach you more technique and not like more cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways, so in this food war, episode 5 is just a continuation of this. They just make food dishes, and Soma almost like ties with him basically, because they had different types of spring dishes. Soma's was based off of a family restaurant recipe, which was inigiri chazuki, and it was just like based off of umami, and umami is a term that we learned through this, which is just like a type of like flavor or sauce that comes off of food.
Yes, actually, umami refers to what is that condiment that white people don't want in their food?
Salt?
No.
Spicy stuff?
No. It's that other thing that is like salt. No, MSG.
Civil rights.
MSG. It's called MSG. So umami is referred to MSG.
Right.
And because I
thought MSG was a salt.
Yes, it is a salt.
Oh, okay.
It is a salt, but the type of salt that it is, it's molecularly binded with glutamine or something.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah, and so they got this MSG by doing seaweed, kelp, and meat broth, and that's where all that shit comes together. So if you buy, like, say for example, have you seen those little cubes of chicken to cook with? Those
right. Yeah.
So that's like a broth, dehydrated broth, and that's the MSG because it has the meat flavors in there. It has that super,
and that's umami.
That's umami. Yes.
Oh, okay. So then, honestly, I'm glad that we watched this, because you, more than anyone I know, is probably into cooking. Like, your hobby is cooking.
I like cooking. Yeah. I like
so
cooking.
I thought it was funny that we were watching this because it's not a bad anime. Anyways, so Soma and the number 7 chair, Satoshi, basically come to a tie. And then the very next morning, Soma is convinced that he's gonna challenge him to a real shokugeki.
Yeah, but then the law, I guess the rules of the shokugeki is they have to be odd number of judges. Both parties have to agree. And what else was it?
I don't know. And then they have to make like a bet or something.
Yeah, so fucking Soma's so excited to challenge him just so he can win the 7th chair already. Like, to skip through all the whole, skip through the whole schooling.
10 through 8, yeah.
He challenges him, but both parties have to agree, so nothing happens.
And, so that's it for episode 5. Episode 6, we're introduced to Best Girl in episode 6, the Meat Invader. Best Girl, Ikumi Mito. Meat. She's gonna be called Meat the rest of the season.
You thought I was best girl? You best dirty girl. Fucking
What
nerd.
do you mean? I think it's funny. So before this, when we were watching the last 2 episodes, we're talking about like subtle racism in this. I think it's fucking wild that the only girl with the tan and blonde hair is the American big-titted dumbass. Like, it's a little like...
Yeah, and it gets pretty racial throughout the time, but it doesn't get racial like, ooh, racial. It gets like, huh? Like
that's weird. Like, yeah. It's obviously kind of making fun of Americans, but at the same time, she's hot. So it's like
she has like those, what do you call those fucking things of the little fucking shorts, the jean shorts?
Yeah, she's just wearing like short jean shorts, and she's got this big old butcher knife on her hip, and like...
Yeah, like, I don't know. But
the author's trying to say that Americans are hot.
And yeah, and they introduce her, and what does she do? What?
So Erina, who is we mentioned her already, she's the granddaughter of the chairman of the school. She gave Soma his initial test to get into said school. She is a member of the Council of 10, and she's just going around to clubs and like bullying them out of their money and like taking their office space and just like absorbing their resources into her empire. So we're introduced to the Bowl Club, which in the sub it's called the Dawn Club. And first time I watched the Dawn, I didn't realize what that meant, but it's just bowls. It's like, it's a rice bowl. It's a
rice dish. So
in a bowl.
Yeah. So when it comes to like dishes, if a dish is a meat dish, if you as a chef do something to overpower the meat in the dish, then it's not a meat dish. You know what I'm saying? So it gets super like technical as far as all that shit. And then what happens that they go into a competition? Mito and Soma?
So Soma, because he's such a nice guy and she sees that Erina's trying to absorb the Bowl Club through Ikumi, he challenges her to a Shokugeki. And if he wins, she has to become a member of the Bowl Club. And if she wins, he has to drop out of school. Like he's like expelled from the school.
I like that line in this episode where they're like, "Can we beat her meat?" And the dough is so crazy. And yeah, I completely...
They're trying to sexualize it. Like that's so like just on purpose and
and it's funny. And I think the reason they did her like appearance how it is because her thing is meat. So it's like you see the more meat on her.
So her thing is meat. Her family owns like a great
Covey farm and specialty meats where she can get access to high premium meats, you know?
Yeah,
like,
so that's why her specialty is meat, because she has access to all this high grade A5 beef and stuff like that.
So we come to learn later on that school started out just within those dorms and it was very small, and because of something that happened it became bigger and bigger. So the Shokugekis started going because the clubs that were started obviously were started by somebody that were a specialty on, you know. So that's why they have the rice bowl club and then the meat club. So with this Shokugeki, like it's so weird because they have to like they bet something like just ridiculous sometimes. It's like, oh, we'll have your fucking family's restaurant or this and that. And in this case, it's just the club. Like we just want the budget of the club to go into the meat club.
Right.
Instead of the fucking rice.
So then they make a beef or they make a bowl. They make a Dawn.
Yeah.
And they're going to be their Shokugeki. And it's just, so Soma is able to win the competition with on sale, like corner store aisle beef.
Yep.
And I don't even remember how he won this episode.
Oh, this is where he tender,
how did he tenderize the meat with jelly or something like that?
No. This is when they, I can't remember how he tenderized it.
On the beef.
Oh, no. It wasn't even the meat because it was the rice that he won because he used onions and sweet plum on the rice because it was a rice dish.
I remember it looking like a pink. That makes sense. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, so he tenderized the meat with onions around it. And with those onions, when they tenderize the meat
they
enough,
excrete like some chemical that breaks down the meat.
Correct. The enzyme. But the way he cooked the rice, he cooked it with the sweet plums and when it hit the onions, it just balanced it out. And she did this extravagant fucking meat flour on top of the rice, which overpowered the fucking rice. Therefore, not a fucking rice dish.
I'm glad you use the word enzyme. I have a degree in biology. I know what an enzyme is.
Fucking little hungry bastards.
It's I just think that's a good word. Anyways, so the joke is that now Meat is what he's going to call her because is a member of the Bowl Club. But now she has like this huge crush on Soma because he's so smart and talented and she just wants to suck him off. Like, yeah. And that's like a theme throughout this is that like these girls fucking hate Soma's guts, but he's able to cook so hard that
he's got juggling like 5 sundaes at a time, bro.
The harem's like 5-6 girls because every time he beats a girl in the Shokugeki, like,
he's like, shut up.
Oh, I love you so much.
Yeah. And where do we go from there? She's part of the group now. They save the Rice Bowl Club. We go onto the camp, right? Or the overnight training outside?
Yeah. So starting in episode 8, which is the Concerto of Inspiration and Imagination, we find out that the first year students are going to go to a boot camp of sorts, like a super hard restaurant real environment training weekend. It's a boot camp, basically. Like they're trying to weed out through a super hard in-person real world exam, like on who's really going to be a good chef or not.
Correct. It's like a 6-day thing. And I think the first one is when they have to cook with anything they find within a selected area, correct?
Right. So they're in rural Japan, and the competition is just like, hey, go outside and find random ingredients and cook me something good. So they're in Japan next to a river. Everyone goes trying to make like a fish dish, and this ends up setting off the person conducting the exam, because all she's having is fish all day, and everyone's kind of subpar. Because like we were saying, all the teachers are like super strict, and like they have super refined palates, and they hate like 90% of what they eat, which is why everyone drops out of the school. And that's where we're introduced to
the Aldini brothers.
The Aldini brothers, which are like, they're two brothers. They work out of Italy, and they're like a mainstay throughout the rest of the anime after they're introduced.
Okay. They also have experience with customers.
Right.
So they try to emphasize that he's at the level that Soma is at.
They're like the foil to Soma.
Correct. There you go. And yeah, they end up, for somehow everybody fucking overlooked all the fucking chickens and ducks that there were around the area.
That's what I don't like, because it seems like, to make an interesting narrative, the author just pulls like
a duck out of his ass.
Yeah, he pulls a duck out of his ass. So like they're next to a river, so everyone's catching fish to make a fish dish. Out of nowhere, these random Italians just find some fucking duck. I don't even know how you catch a duck without like a rifle.
So my understanding is that this school has somehow a fucking ecodome that these fucking...
And no one else noticed it.
Yeah.
These two Italian brothers just find like some pen full of chickens and ducks, and like they're able to snatch the perfect ingredients, but nobody else noticed.
Yeah, and everybody turns out making a fucking...
I don't like that writing. It feels cheap.
It does grab you a little cheap, and that's why I was concerned at this episode at the beginning, because I was like, really? Is it just about eating shit and just seeing horny shit?
Yeah.
And then... But then it starts thickening. The sauce starts thickening.
It's because when we've previously talked about shonen, like something like Samurai Champloo or something like that, we almost joked about the moral of the story was it's about the friends you made along the way, right? Like it's not about the journey, it's about making friendship and stuff like that.
Yeah, the power of friendship.
The Food Wars is more like the power within yourself. When presented with like a super strict or like a super hard challenge in front of yourself, you just pull power out of your ass. It's almost like the Dragon Ball method. You know what I mean? Like we're just gonna pull some random gift out of our fucking ass and get over this challenge.
Yeah, and what were we saying? What were we talking about?
The Italians won.
Oh, yeah.
Duck.
Yeah, the Italians won with the duck because they made like a salsa verde. Because the dish is supposed to be a Japanese dish, but they made an Italian dish, which is duck over salsa verde. I mean, on salsa verde. And they make it with all these Japanese ingredients.
I was almost offended that they said that salsa verde was an Italian like made dish. Well, I'm like, bro, I'm Mexican American. Like, come the fuck on.
No,
like,
well,
what are you talking about?
Well, it is the fact that
really
no, it's because the wording salsa verde is green sauce in Italy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a jalapeno or chili sauce the way you think it as a Mexican.
Oh, am I thinking about it wrong?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's just a salsa verde. Like it's just a green sauce.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But a green sauce, an Italian green sauce, will have its basil, it's fucking, kind of pesto-ish kind of sauce.
Sounds fucking good. Like they're really good at like pasta making and stuff like that. The Aldini brothers.
And then but they end up using all Japanese ingredients, which makes it a Italian plated Japanese dish kind of thing.
You're right. Yeah. That is explained correctly. And so what was it? It was what was even the test was to make like a Japanese traditional dish, and they were able to throw in the green sauce and just like
make it out of
they made rice Italian.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, and I love when the teacher or examiner fucking eats it and she sees Duck Pavarotti, like the opera, and it's just a duck Pavarotti. Like, that's just fucking funny. Pavarotti's dope. You know?
What is that?
Pavarotti?
I didn't get that joke. I didn't get that joke.
Yeah, Luciano Pavarotti, I think, is like the opera singer. Oh, fucking...
I've never heard any of this,
dude,
bro.
I'll show you after the episode. He's a dope-ass motherfucker.
Why does he have to do with a duck?
Well, because it's Italian.
What's Italian?
The brothers, they're Italian. They made an Italian, almost Japanese dish. So when she took the bite out of this Italian...
She imagined an opera singer?
And it was and it looked like a duck Pavarotti. Pavarotti is this musician because he had a long beard, and you can see this in the animation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know any of that.
I thought it was pretty funny.
I didn't know any of that. Holy fuck. Like, this is getting deeper than I thought it was. And then Soma just throws, like, he deep fries, like, some fish?
Because they had already caught some fish, and they were like, fuck, everybody's making fish. And then out of their ass again, Soma's like, so you're saying I can cook with whatever it's in this fucking area? It's like, yeah. And he ends up stealing her chips.
Yeah, she's eating, like, literal
rice
chips.
Crackers?
Yeah, she's eating, like, literal crackers right in front of him, and he just grabs her crackers, like, okay, I'm gonna use this to deep fry some fucking fish.
Yeah, because nobody had flour or anything like that. Like, so every dish was just gonna be either a pan-fried, boiled soup, or anything like that fish. Yeah. So by him getting this fucking crumbs, he used it like a panko to make a fresh fried fish dish. And before Aldini, it looks like he's the foil, but I guess he doesn't get that much character in the first season because at this point I still don't see him as important.
You don't think so? He's important in the last part of season 1 when they do the little tournament arc. Both of the brothers get like a spotlight in that part when they're making curry. But I don't know. They get more important later. They give both of them their backstories, and they show like how hard it was to come up like working in Italy in a restaurant, and their uncle sent them away to be cooks in Japan.
To get schooling. Because, like I said, in this anime, this school in Japan is like the Cordon Bleu in Paris.
But in Japan.
Yeah.
So then episode 9, the breading to adorn the mountains. We explained that was when Soma takes the kaki peanuts and deep fries the dish. And...
I think they do the 50 meals for the bodybuilders next.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I do kind of vaguely remember this part. What happened? The competition was just to show, like, how quickly these kids can cook?
Not how quickly. They did mention that it had to be, like, a healthy dish or, like, a protein-heavy dish.
Right.
Or something like that, because now the next... These little challenges get kind of confusing because, dude, they have like people on standby. They have like fucking 100 fucking bodybuilders just ready to fucking eat some dishes, and they have to make 50 each student, which at this point is probably like 100 students each. They have to make 50 fucking dishes to
like how many people would you need to bring to this facility to be able to feed that many people?
Exactly. And then, but anyways, they have to make 50 meals and just fucking feed them, and that's it. That's all they have to do, but it has to be good. Like, the guys have to like it.
Yeah, the trick about that is, like, you can't just make 50 shit dishes because nobody's gonna fucking eat it. You can make something appetizing enough that one person will have, like, 3 or 4 plates.
Yeah, and it turns into this thing, like, who's finishing first.
Right. And so it ends up being Miss Erina. And she's in the sauna bath, Japanese-style bath, and Soma finishes second, so he heads up there to go take a bath, and he runs into Erina in her towel, and it's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, Soma, like, how dare you see me in my towel like this?
Yeah, you know, titties popping out.
And... Yeah, all extra as fuck, like, she falls on the floor, it's just like 2 whole seconds of her tits bouncing, and...
So at this point, we kind of figured out that Soma was one of the first ones to finish. And he heads to the baths, and he gets into a conversation with Dojima, right? Which is first chair currently.
No, he graduated.
Oh, he graduated
So
already. I'm getting all those confused.
All the administrators at the week-long facility training thing are alumni. They've already graduated from the school. And
chairs are still going to school.
right. So then Dojima was, when he was in school, he was the number one chair. And he ends up liking Soma because he's able to see his talent in him. And then he knows off of his last name who his dad was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, super fucking extra here. Like, they're all showing just muscles and, like, and trying to make it seem like horny, but on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to compensate for all the chi-chis that they're being showing, and they just put a male guy, and then
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
they were like, fuck, we've already shown like 5 whole episodes or nothing but like naked chicks. Like, we
Yeah.
can throw one dude in there.
Yeah. And, and then at this point, I think it's kind of when the story starts kind of grabbing me a little bit more. The next episode, it's when, the new challenge, which is the Supreme Reset, which is the, Supreme Recipe episode, that there's no teams. And this kind of is like a Megumi episode, kind of, because she's by herself, and throughout this whole series, she's been relying on Soma.
Right.
Yeah, and she makes a dish out of pressure because at this point we can see that she's not doing she's
not
her
living-
best is.
Right. She's not living up to her potential.
Yes, and she's just being pressured by all these outside ideas, and she gets fucking boated out. She fails, and
So she has to make this perfect recipe, which is just like a terrine, which is, I don't even know what a terrine is. They just threw a bunch of different vegetables together in a square, and you dip it in sauce, and
well, that's after. I think that's the battle after Kojiro fails her. You know, because he's the examiner at that point, and he fails her.
right. Okay, so I am wrong. So the main challenge she was in was all of the students had to rush to get some fresh vegetables to fulfill this heavenly recipe, but she's kind of slow and she gets some spoiled cauliflower, but she's able to save it by a special cooking method, but she didn't follow the recipe exactly, so the examiner fails her.
Correct. But I think the problem there was, the issue in this challenge was that Kojiro, the examiner at this point, he purposely put bad produce on the veggies. Right. Where she tried to save the cauliflower because again, Kojiro is the...
How did she save it?
The legume magician. And then, but she saves it by, boiling the cauliflower with red wine vinegar, which then the vinegar will act as a bleacher and correct the pigmentation or oxidation that the cauliflower has. Right. And the bitterness of the wine, the sweetness of the wine will counteract the acidity of how it tastes now. Right. Yeah. So she tried to save it like that. I can't remember the dish that she made.
And it ended up being good, but just because she didn't follow the recipe exactly, she failed.
Correct. Because they had to do something. Yeah, they had to do like this vegetable dish.
So she's about to get like kicked out of school for not following this recipe exactly, even though this guy purposely left out like bad produce. So she challenges him to a Shokugeki to like save her status in school, or did Soma do that?
Well, Soma was like, "Hey, dude, what the fuck?" Is like her dish is good.
Yeah, like she tried her best. Like, you fucked up. Like,
yeah, it's like this is not how it's supposed to be. It's like, oh well, I challenge you for to keep her here, but he was like, no, because again, both parties have to agree. Right. But then fucking Dojima, being the cool guy that he is, right?
The one that likes Soma.
Yeah, the one that likes Soma. He's like, all right, you guys want to do a little fucking battle? So they go to like a fucking a basement kitchen.
Yeah, they go down to the basement where there's not even cell service, like all fucking creepy, to like cook these special dishes and see.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. What happened?
Oh, because I was gonna say he kind of put together the whole battle thing, right, for Soma to save Megumi's position at the school.
Right.
But then Dojima doesn't let Soma be the head chef.
Right.
Makes him a sous chef.
He's just he's just prepping. Mm-hmm. Like, he's making Megumi be the main chef, like, in the situation. But they're still against, like, an A1 chef. Like, this guy that they're up against works in France. He's, like, a graduate of the academy, so he's already, like, a top-tier chef. Mm-hmm. And he just... He makes the better dish, you know what I mean? Like,
he makes vegetarian dishes.
Yeah, he makes vegetarian dishes because he's known as the legume magician. Mm-hmm. Legumes are like beans and stuff like that, kind of. Like, it's a vegetarian option. Mm-hmm. And back to our racism conversation, his flashback, they kind of show him experiencing racism in French kitchens, which is, like, also terrible.
Yeah, it's fucking weird because... and like we said, it's not racism as in they're being racist, but they show like discrimination against a foreign Japanese chef working in a French restaurant, making the recipes better. But then the cooks within that kitchen were like, yo, bros, like, this is too Oriental. And Oriental,
that's racist
for
term.
what I know, I think it turned into a racist slur.
Like, where the fuck is the Orient, bro? Like, point to me at a map what the Orient is. Like, it's okay to call shit Asian, but...
Isn't it the opposite of horizon?
What?
Isn't it the opposite of horizon?
I have never heard that.
I think in Spanish, it's poniente and oriente.
What?
So, horizon, as far as where the sun goes.
Oh.
And... Oriente, in Spanish, at least, I think it's the opposite way of horizon.
I have never heard that.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
maybe Mexicans call
it's just
every Asian guy chinito.
It's almost like those, like, just boomer-ass fucking terms, though. Like, calling something Oriental, like, as opposed to, like, Asian or Japanese American, or, like... Mm-hmm. Nobody in this is American, but I'm just saying, like, you could totally hear... some rural conservative being like, yo, are you Oriental? As opposed to asking if, like, you're Asian or, like, where you're from. You get what I'm saying?
Correct. And, yeah, I think that's where it comes from, but I might be wrong. And, yeah, he's like, nah, your recipes are too Oriental for this for the French people or French customers. Blah,
yeah, so he's getting, like, bullied out of French kitchens. But then he ends up making his own restaurants and he's super successful.
And he gets his blue star or whatever, the French star that you get for, like, French restaurants.
Yeah, like, he's a good chef. But then he goes in a tie with Megumi at the end of this food competition.
Correct. And this is where we see, like, Megumi's power level go up.
Yeah. This is her training sequence. Like, this is where she gets Super Saiyan 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And she almost loses, but Dojima is basically able to say that Shinomiya is like, he's peaked, like, he's plateaued. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't increased, like, his food knowledge in a while. He made a super safe dish, but it's under his skill level because he's not feeling confident and, like, innovative enough to make, like, a really good dish.
And he's been doing that for a while, you know, like, and at this point we see Megumi's backstory kind of start making sense some more, because at one point before we hit this episode, Soma tells her, just cook something that you would want to eat. And she goes back to a lot of recipes or a lot of ways that I felt what cooking was. And they're start emphasizing the meal that she cooked, which was the same meal that the Kojiro made. She made it with love. Like, she made it with care.
Like, she imagined her mother in the kitchen while making it.
Yeah, she remembered. I like the flashbacks with the fuzziness on the back. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of Madoka. It's cool.
I miss Madoka.
Madoka. And, yeah. It's, dude, I think she has one of the most deepest kind of stories, at least for me.
I think, even though it is kind of like, there's some harem aspects to it, I think at this point in season 1, they're trying to set up that Megumi is the main love interest. Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know. Like, I don't know why they keep introducing girls every other episode if they're gonna...
This was drowning.
Like, if they're just gonna make it about Megumi, why are they introducing a girl every episode?
Yeah. And, yeah, she ends up... Dojima ends up, like, making Kojiro have a fucking epiphany that, yeah, he had fucking plateaued.
Yeah, and which was, like, the whole, like, secret purpose of the Shokugeki was just to get Dojima... No, not Dojima. What's the other guy's name?
Kojiro?
Yeah, just to get Kojiro out of his rut. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I feel super great about this. Like, you just pulled me out of this.
So anyway, fucking tie between Soma, Megumi, and Kojiro, and they end up staying in the fucking school.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, their friends are like, where the fuck did they go? Blah, blah, blah. So anyways, next episode starts off with the buffet challenge. They have to, so with this camp, they went to this hotel thing. So now they're like in a convention kind of room.
Right.
And they set up like different stations where all the students can cook.
Right.
And what they have to do, they have to cook a fucking dish buffet style. So people come and pick it up and they have to serve 200 fucking plates.
Right.
And everybody's doing some crazy shit. I love this episode because you've seen everybody cook a breakfast-based dish.
Right, but it's egg-based still, isn't it?
Oh, it is egg-based. Yeah,
Right.
It is egg-based.
Because Soma relates it to his entry challenge with Erina, because that was also an egg-based challenge.
Correct. And this kind of little buffet challenge goes for like a couple. What does it go for? A couple episodes?
Yeah, it goes for a couple of episodes, but I find it like fake. It's fake drama because it doesn't. We know nothing's gonna happen to Soma and he's gonna end up passing, but they're making like a fake drama narrative that like, oh, nobody likes Soma's dish at first and he's not gonna be able to serve 200 dishes.
Well, if you allow me to, the dish that he was trying that he thought of, it was bad for being out too long. It was a souffle omelette, and souffle gets flat if you leave it out too long.
Right.
So that's the thing that like he was like, oh fuck, I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
Right,
you know, where the customer was just looking around every station and getting their own fucking, you know, and they make some judges look like super like
what did
these old
he
men.
end up making that did end up getting his plate served?
No, well, he did the same thing, but he served it on the go, a la carte.
Oh.
So he had to get the ones that he had just plated, and he would just start just cooking them as they went.
What I don't understand, so practically speaking, how would you be able to do this? Like, who has 200 plates like that? 200 dishes? Like, is there a second person off to the side that we don't see that's cleaning dishes?
Well, it's like bartending.
Right.
You have your ingredients.
He's doing it himself?
Yeah, you have your ingredients, and you are making drinks.
Right.
As they get prepared, you know? So that's essentially what he's doing. He's just like, oh, people are eating. He even said so. He's like, I just need somebody to come look at this and come eat this. As soon as he starts getting people, he made it into a show.
Right.
Where he was just cooking this amazing souffle omelet egg, fluffy in the inside, crunchy on the outside, and everybody fucking digged it. And that's how he ended up fucking...
I don't think I've ever had a souffle.
A souffle? I don't know. I don't think I ever had a souffle, as a regular souffle, but souffle eggs, yeah, I've had souffle eggs.
I don't think I ever have. I don't have a lot of context for this. Anyways, so Soma's able to pass, and so that's basically the end of the cooking boot camp weekend, and like everyone passes and the school throws them a badass dinner, but then we find out that the real reason for this boot camp was to show the abilities of the students so that the alumni, the graduates who are working in kitchens right now, can have potential future employees.
Interns or some shit like
that.
that.
Yeah. So you see these alumni walking up to the students like Soma and Megumi and being like, yo, I really like that one dish you did. I think you're really smart. I think you're really talented. Like, don't be afraid to hit me up so that we can do your internship, or you can come work with me after you graduate. And that was like the secret plot the whole time, to like point out their...
Correct. And then at this point, I think Soma just decides to go back home because he wants to go back to his diner, his family diner.
No, not yet. So they go back to the dormitory and Soma's dad's there.
Oh, yeah. True.
So Soma's dad's there. It's the cook who traveled thousands of miles, episode 16.
Carnage.
Right. So we find out, that's when we find out officially that Soma's dad was the number 2 chair when he was in school. But then there's like a super sad part because like he never actually graduated from the academy, and and Soma's dorm mates ask his dad why, and he just looks at Soma and he's like, oh, well, life kind of happens sometimes. So that shows that like this super talented chef had to drop out of school because he had a kid.
Yes, don't have kids, guys.
Ever.
They'll crush your dreams. Their little feet just crush your dreams. So crazy.
They're leeches on your life. Anyways, so Soma and his dad have a food war, and the food war is just to make like a breakfast meal
Yes, was it a breakfast meal?
It had to be a breakfast meal because it was at like 7 a.m.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
And it was Fumio, Megumi, and Satoshi. So that's Megumi's the one girl that we've been following. Fumio is the number 7 seat chair, and Satoshi is the old lady of the dormitory.
Correct.
So they have to cook a breakfast meal for them, but that's where we show a lot of what Soma's lacking, because Soma's dad was able to make a dish that fit exactly what his clients needed. Like,
yeah, so I believe the cook-off was a ramen versus a risotto.
Right.
Soma made a crisp apple risotto.
Yeah, that sounds fucking good.
It sounds pretty good, actually. Yeah, and it's good, but like you said, the dad ended up making a meal for his customers, and he knew his customers that they just spend the whole fucking day
like
cooking.
Like Satoshi had already been out in the field and he needed something refreshing. Megumi had just woken up and she hadn't been sleeping well, so she needed something that could also pipe her up. And then Fumio's old, so she has a weak stomach and she needed something
easy to digest.
Right. So the dad Joichiro being able to make a fully vegetarian dish that's like super light on the stomach but like good on nutrients, so like makes you feel good.
It wakes you up. It kind of like rejuvenates you. It hydrates you. This and that. So he ends up winning the battle.
Right.
Which makes 490th lost against his dad.
Right. So Soma and Joichiro are always just conducting food wars on themselves, which is why Soma does not crack under the pressure of food wars, because he's had like years of practice with his dad, because his dad was such a competitive chef.
A bad dad, too.
The worst dad. So then the very next episode, he just leaves again without even telling his son.
Yeah. He lives like that same episode.
And Soma's just kind of sad, like, oh, he left without even saying bye.
Yeah, but at this point, like, he's like, he just realized who his dad was. Like, it's just so crazy. He's just like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he's the man that taught me all this good fucking cooking, like, at home.
And from what I noticed from watching anime this fucking past 12 episodes is that nobody knows what their immediate family are doing at any given fucking point in anime.
The family culture just isn't there in Japan. Like,
yeah, it's like, hey, dad, how was work? Hey, I think that's a little personal.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
So then that's when they go into what you were talking about. The dad tells Soma to like go open up the old restaurant and just air it out. Air quotes, air it out. I think that's how they worded it. And
knowingly that just by opening the door, the people were going to be like, yo.
Yeah. So, the dad, knowing how great their restaurant was doing, he knows that the minute people see Soma outside, they're going to like ask him to cook a bunch of dishes for him. And that's how, that's the dad's plan to like refine Soma's cooking more.
That's his way of parenting.
Yeah. It's by making him work labor in a restaurant by himself. And so the narrative we get over the next 3 episodes, which is, I guess, summer vacation, is that the district that Soma's family's restaurant is in is going under because there is a fried chicken fast food restaurant at a train station down the street.
It's like pretty much like an outlet mall. Right. That has this, specifically has this good restaurant of fried chicken to take home.
Right.
Takeout. And apparently it's super badass, and that's why it's going under.
So then Soma calls Meat, and he's with his childhood friend, and that's how they just save the shopping district. It's kind of cheesy because they make their own portable fried chicken in a cone, and they're able to get neighboring restaurants to serve beer and like snacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that was pretty much the whole gist. And they went to go visit that lady that owned the restaurant. The lady's a bitch, obviously, is like, you can never do anything to outdo my fucking chicken. Soma realizes that this fucking chicken parlor is telling chicken to go get microwaved at fucking home because it's in an outlet. There's no way for them to eat it freshly made. Right. And they end up making a wrap. Like a fried chicken wrap.
Right.
And which he was helping another restaurant, right? This older guy.
Right.
So he made the dish for that restaurant.
It was like a shopping district full of neighboring restaurants. And Soma's bright-ass plan making this good-ass fried chicken saved the whole shopping district.
Yeah, because they had a lot of like traffic with students and stuff like that. So good episode, happy feelings. There's a lot more connection between Mayumi?
Yeah.
Right, Majumi and Mito.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Meat.
Yeah, meat. And yeah, dude, and then they go back for the fall selection, don't they?
Yeah, so they go back to school, and the fall selection is just 60 contestants being split into 2 groups, and it's just a mini tournament arc. Like, if anybody knows the memes about season 2 of My Hero Academia, is that, like, if there's a dull narrative and you just want to spice shit up, just make a tournament arc. Because then you're just throwing all the action into, like, a condensed few episodes, or in a manga, like a condensed few chapters. So it's really exciting for a short amount of time.
Yeah, and honestly, I believe that this is where the plot kind of just went in a plateau for.
These are like my favorite episodes. I feel the opposite.
I think I was enjoying the connections the Soma was getting with his at first Sundays and stuff like that. So I was thinking like, whoa, like where is this going? Now they're gonna all collaborate towards the end and have like a badass something. But then it went into the tournament arc and it just kind of got like a little repetitive.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot really quick. It's a lot of like food eating orgasm scenes. It's just and it's on curry, right?
Yeah, and all I was waiting for, it was like someone's dish. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I'm waiting for is
nobody else's dishes matter, because there's like, oh, cool, you made medicinal curry, you made stinky curry, you made
medicinal
curry. You cut up a giant fish curry.
Oh, that was good.
Okay, what's that fish?
Magumi. Magumi. We go back into her story that when her grandpa was getting older, he wasn't able.
Yeah. So there. What's the name of the fish? Monkfish. Yes. Monk.
Yes.
So a monkfish is this giant, gross, slimy, like 6 foot long fish. And to cook it, you need like traditional methods.
So the monkfish is very slimy, which makes it difficult to be cutting in a tabletop.
And Megumi's cooking this.
Yeah, in Megumi's cooking.
In the curry challenge.
Yes, in the curry challenge.
Okay.
So we get a little bit glimpse of how Megumi has these skills and this such like almost slumdog millionaire kind of knowledge.
Well, you were talking about her grandpa.
Yeah, her grandpa was growing old and he couldn't do the suspended cutting of the monkfish because it has to be suspended because, like, again, it's hard to do it on a tabletop because it's slimy.
But there's like traditional Japanese methods into doing this.
Correct,
right?
Because it takes force, it takes precision and stuff like that. So at a very young age, Megumi decided to go to a fisherman's kind of like port and ask one of the fishermen, "Hey, I want you to teach me suspended monkfish."
And it shows her like being like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and just asking like a grown man, like, "Hey, teach me how to cut this fish." And he's like, "How's this little girl gonna cut this fish?" But magically, she's able to do it through anime magic.
Through anime magic and the power of friendship, she does this curry too with monkfish, and it turns out to be really good. Again, none of these meals fucking matter because you're just getting like this 30 versus 30 kind of thing, and they pick the top 8.
Right.
So B team, A team, and they all kind of plays except for Soma, right?
Right.
Soma doesn't fucking plays.
So these last few episodes, they also like fake push a new antagonist on you, like a new rival for Soma, who's what was his name?
Akira, the Indian dude.
Yeah, he's Indian, and that's again one of those subtle kind of racism, because the only like non-Asian or Japanese character, like he's just automatically like lived in a slum in India and had to be saved by a Japanese professor. Like it's a little like Blindside. Yeah, Blindside.
Sandra Bullock-ish.
Yeah. It's a fake kind of like, oh, if you don't look like me, then you're poor and ugly and I have to save you.
Correct. Yeah. It's like, dude, I was chilling in India. Why are you taking me?
But he's relevant in these last 4 episodes because he's the curry master.
Correct.
And so
odd decision to make the first tournament arc about curry. As far as the writer, I know curry, and for some of you that don't know curry, it's like a mole. Mm-hmm. It's like a mole or a paste based on different kind of spices.
That's exactly what it is. It's like a pineapple-based mole, kind of.
Not pineapple, just spices. No, it's just spices. Okay. It's just different spices, different vegetables mushed together to make a salsa, and that's what mole essentially is. Just like a paste to flavor something else.
Right.
Veggies, meat.
with this being a tournament arc, they're just ramping up the number of like food reactions. So they get like a whole panel of like 10 people. And every time they're being presented a new dish, it's just like, oh, my clothes are ripping off. Oh, look at this old man automatically gets yoked. Look at this old lady, her tits are bouncing around, super dramatic like. And they're just trying to ramp up the drama in like a fake sense almost, because like we're barely introduced to all of these characters, so we don't have that much emotional investment in this.
Correct, and it just goes off the chains with the episodes. And at this point, I think they're being the last episode where Soma does not place. It's just like a little like, here's an episode where he doesn't win. Because he's been winning in every episode.
Better keep watching.
Yeah, better keep watching.
See, he does have challenges.
Hit a rut. Yeah, exactly. So it's even like I'm gonna go back to Hunter x Hunter. Even though we know that Gon he's gonna have his way, he actually comes across these plot lines that are like, you know,
he can't overcome them.
Yeah, and he has to, and he works through them. But in this anime, it's just like he wins. Last episode is like, hey, he lost. Like you said, keep watching.
So then that's basically it for season 1. It ends on how did we call it for Space Dandy? On just another
cliffhanger?
No, not a cliffhanger. Just a recap episode.
Correct.
It ends on a recap episode
of all the friends.
It's Soma and Megumi on a balcony, and they're talking about how great their 6 months at school was together. And that's how it ends.
Yeah. And honestly, now that I'm sitting here talking to you about it, it's better of a watch than a conversation.
Yeah, it's not like I can't talk literary terms with it. I can't delve deeper into
anything else.
It's just it's all very surface level. It's very surface level. Like, yes, it's smart in that like there's twists at the end. There's a lot of narrative twists that are smarter and that you wouldn't expect. You get what I'm saying? But it feels like JoJo's in a sense like that, because in JoJo's he'll present himself a new villain that the author can't figure out how to get over by himself, and he'll just pull like a rabbit out of a hat narratively and just to get over it. And it's not bad. And
no, it's not. No.
We're recording on like October 3rd. It ended on October 1st, which is like 2 days ago. Season 5 ended. The manga ended a few years ago. I would be interested in keeping watching, because I think I watched all of season 2. Really good. I remember thinking, and it's funny. Like, we can't explain the funny moments as much because it's more visual.
I think it's more like a guilty pleasure kind of anime.
In what way?
And in a way that you're like, there's really no substance to it, but it's just funny to watch. It's just funny to sit back and be like, food. And that's it. Because, like I said, it's not a conversation piece as far as all the other animes that we've watched.
Right.
Yeah.
You should watch it. It's obviously popular if it's had so many seasons, and the manga went on for forever. But I'm just excited that we get a change in narrative pace as far as watching animes this next week. Because, like we were talking about with the poll, we are going to be watching Erased.
Yeah! Nerd down!
Yeah, Nerd down.
Nerd down.
There's been a lot going on this week, bro.
Man, I love our intro song.
You love the intro song?
I love the intro song.
I do too. I like the mic. I think that was the most exciting thing that we talked about all week. I ordered it on like Monday. It came in on Thursday. It's a hefty piece of equipment.
It's amazing. And the color, midnight blue, that was a good choice, man.
It was either this or black, but I picked the midnight blue.
Hell yeah. It hopefully sounds so good, nerds. Thank you for listening. Thank you for voting on the poll. Fucking 44 votes.
I'm excited. Honestly, what I was explaining on Twitter is this is the first week that I have not watched anything that was on the poll.
I've read Berserk and watched some of it. I don't think I watched the one that we put in the poll, but I watched some of the Netflix movies.
I have zero introduction to Berserk, bro.
Berserk is good.
The only thing I know about Berserk is like when I would talk to Lloyd about it. So I don't know the plot. I know vaguely what the character looks like. I've seen clips on Twitter of like people getting raped and stuff.
Dude,
and
it's first season of JoJo times 20.
That's disgusting.
Times 20, dude. It's fucking crazy.
And then Parasite, I've seen like the first 3 episodes of Parasite.
You told me you weren't interested.
I'm not. It's because I've seen comparisons with the panels in the manga, and the manga looks so good, but like when you watch the anime for Parasite, it looks so cheap. Like it looks like
they rushed through it.
Not even that they rushed through it, that they just cut cost.
Budget.
Yeah, so they just could not spend as much time as they needed to on certain scenes. So it just doesn't look as crisp. It doesn't look as high quality as it should for like how the character designs are.
Dude, Berserk, I'm excited for you to watch it. I personally, when Lloyd introduced me to it, I read it and I was like, holy shit, like this shit's crazy.
I don't even know how the anime goes. Like especially that 1997
It's like Spawn meets fucking JoJo. It's so crazy. It's fucking cool. I like it.
Erased better be good. Because like we were doing the math, that means like 15, 16 people on our poll voted for Erased.
Correct.
And so we were Googling when it came out. I could have sworn it maybe came out a few months ago because I feel like I only heard people talking about it recently. But it came out in like 2016 or 2017.
2016, yeah.
And I don't know what it's about. I just know it's like a vaguely horror anime.
I mean, we've been playing it on the background throughout this whole episode. I haven't been paying attention or anything. Animations look good. They look original. I like how they're drawn.
I'm just glad that we're not going to watch Elfen Lied because I remember Elfen Lied being bad, but I remember being 10 years old watching the first episode by myself and being completely freaked out because it's super gory, it's super ugly and like scary, but only to a child. You get what I'm saying? Like, it would look corny to somebody like me and you.
Yeah, I get you. Hey, I never seen that one before. Erased. I'm liking what I'm seeing right now as far as the animations, but that's cool.
So that's the first 3 weeks of October. Erased, Berserk, and Parasite. But the reason... So there's 5 weekends in October. And the reason why there's going to be an interruption in week 4 is because I just need a palate cleanser. Like, bro, I can't... what I'm noticing this week is that maybe, like, I just don't watch a lot of horror anime, and I'm going to need, like, a palate cleanser that week 4 just to, like, offset those 3 weeks of, like, horror anime. I can't do it.
Dude, you know what? I'm glad that Erased is a miniseries. 12 episodes.
I'm excited that it's 12 episodes. We haven't watched anything this short since like...
And you know those get spicy quick. I'm excited.
Since Domestic Girlfriend, we haven't watched anything that was only 12 episodes.
Those get fucking spicy quick.
But the reason why I bring up that like that filler week 4 of October, is that last episode we were talking about how I really need you to watch Gurren Lagann or you're not going to understand anytime we talk about a Studio Trigger anime. But at the same time... There's just a lot of things that, like, you're not practically, that you haven't seen, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of, like, really, what I would consider, like, basic or fundamental anime that you haven't seen.
Yeah, and I'm not really, like, I do like anime. I am new to watching some. I remember watching anime when I was younger, like, when I lived in Juarez, but I just don't remember what it was or what the name of the thing was. I just remember watching it.
Well,
because it wasn't like TiVo. It wasn't like shit that you could like see and watch. It was just live TV.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring that up is because like we haven't seen anything sad in a while. And somebody this week mentioned Your Lie in April, which is like we also haven't talked about a music anime. And Your Lie in April is probably the saddest absolute anime I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know, it's a classic. There's just...
You want to cry in October? The happiest month of this fucking year?
A little bit. Because when you think about months like December, there's not like a whole Christmas anime that we can watch. Like...
Not really.
There's anime with Christmas episodes, but...
Not a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, there's not a whole thing about it. I'm waiting for the day they make a shonen about Santa and how he murders people or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like a Nazi killing Santa.
Like, whoa.
What?
It probably is an anime.
I'm pretty sure there is something like that.
But, so this past weekend, the fall 2020 anime season started.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I watched Jujutsu, whatever the fuck, that came out like 2 days ago. Jujutsu Kaisen. And it only has like a good 5 minutes in the first episode, but it looks like it's going to get better. And it reminded me a lot of Bleach when I watched it. Because it's literally like the basis to Bleach. Like this guy living in an ordinary Japanese town can see ghosts and has an affinity towards supernatural shit. And he ends up like gaining like a super strong power and killing ghosts. It's literally the plot of Bleach.
Cool. Yeah.
But I could see why. I think the first time I heard about this was from Lloyd, because he read the manga, and it looks like something Lloyd would read. Because what I know about Lloyd and how he reads manga, he only reads like super horror, freaky looking shit, and that's how all of the monsters look in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's been recommending Pluto. It looks pretty interesting from the panels that I've seen.
Me and you were talking about the Inuyasha reboot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be based off their kid or something, right?
Yeah, it's called Yasuhime, Half Demon Princess or something like that. I'd be down to watch something like that, because what else is coming out this season? This season seems so dry. Like,
forget about the new seasons. I mean, we still have a lot to watch from older animes.
Well, every anime season, I'll actively watch at least 1 or 2 or 3 anime throughout that season, like the best anime of that season.
Yeah.
So last anime season, the summer anime season, I watched the God of High School. I watched Rent a Girlfriend. I talked about that every episode and stuff like that. But it's just like 2020 with the pandemic, like the regular anime seasons have gotten so dry. Like, I don't know.
We haven't fucking done Rent a Girlfriend.
Do you want to talk? It's because after watching season 1 of Rent a Girlfriend, so it did get re-signed for season 2 last week. That was confirmed, and only like the first few episodes are spicy, because it's not like Domestic Girlfriend where every episode tries to end on some super crazy cliffhanger about like stepsister fucking or something like that.
Yeah.
Rent a Girlfriend's just like, oh, I hope the main character, who's a super ugly dorky simp, ends up with the hot girl, and that's every episode. That's the only reason you end up watching, is just to see if they end up together.
Yeah, I get you. Okay. Hey, I don't know.
But I don't know. And as far as bases for things we haven't watched any isekai, which literally translates to like transported to another world. And we were talking about Sword Art Online earlier with A1 Pictures. Like, it's not that good, but like it created like a movement in the anime industry for like 3-4 years that was just isekais. Like, probably the funniest anime I've ever seen is Konosuba, which is an isekai about just this fucking loser that dies and transports into this super funny world and is traveling through dungeons with girls.
What do you think about revisiting some of this like old like popular fucking animes? I think
like what, Dragon Ball?
Yes, but no, because obviously it's like saturated with fucking episodes,
right?
You know, so we will have to split something out like that. But yeah, but like for example, like Pokemon. I feel like it's been talked to about so much, but do you think Pokemon deserves a revisit?
I don't know, because it depends on the season. It depends on, I mean, and like what I remember of the original Pokemon series is what made it good was that like you were also a little kid playing the games at the time, and that's what made it relatable. Like I think for us right now, it's not going to be all that interesting. It's, I don't know, maybe not watch them, but maybe like a freeform episode where we just like
bash on it.
We're not even bash, but just like off the top, like just talk about how we felt about these anime and what we know about Dragon Ball and where it's at right now. And Pokemon, apparently the current ongoing series is good. The Digimon reboot that got delayed in February because of COVID.
How do you think that's gonna be? You said you like Digimon, right?
I liked the reboot when it came out. In the pilot, you hear me talking about it because that's when it was still supposed to be coming out. But the COVID schedule just threw the development schedule off, and it was really good. It was really the animation quality is high, which I think is like the first thing I look for if I'm going to watch an anime week to week. Which is also the same reason why I have issues with Fire Force sometimes, which is also continuing its season 2 this fall season. Because I watched all of season 1 of Fire Force. It's good. I would recommend it because it's good for just those blank watchings. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like something that you're not really going to break down. But there's a lot of just price cutting, it looks like, in the production. And it seems like they rush things, and it makes me want to watch the manga more than it does make me want to watch more anime.
Get it. Yeah, and like I also been thinking about like, did you ever watch like Ranma and a Half?
What's that?
The guy that turns into a girl and
Oh, yeah.
like shit like that.
But I remember watching that as a kid. I don't even know what the plot is. Like,
Exactly, me neither. I just
would
remember
have to
being like,
rewatch
haha, he turns into a girl.
I would have to rewatch something like that.
Yeah, and like, did you ever watch Shin-Chan?
You know what? I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Like we don't get enough Full Metal Alchemist like recommendations.
That's a really good anime. I like that.
I remember, but then it got released twice, and Brotherhood's supposed to be better because they fucked up the original release schedule. I don't know.
By the way, speaking of Full Metal Alchemist, they fucking our hashtag. We haven't even talked about our hashtag.
Oh, excuse me.
Not even on the beginning.
We forgot. Okay,
Yeah, we
go ahead.
completely forgot. But please, nerds, we've seen a lot more usage of this hashtag. Thank you very much. We are supporting the El Paso Humane Society. Please use the hashtag NerdyPaws with a picture of your favorite anime pet or your own pet.
That is hashtag NERDYPAWS, Nerdy Paws. And yeah, everyone seems to like pets more than anything. We've been getting a good amount of traction because people know we're donating to the Humane Society. We're getting our giveaway in the mail in the next 2 weeks, I think.
Actually, I think it arrived today.
Okay, dope. So we already have the giveaway like sitting in the mailbox. We'll go pick it up right now. Yeah, we still only have like 5 entries though. Like there aren't that many people that have used it. So we did donate to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund earlier today.
Yes, we did. Unfortunately, we got like four entries.
Right.
We decided to just give them $20. And honestly, we would like to give more. We would like to give more to this monthly donation-tons that we're doing. And yes, we could give more, but you know, we also want you guys to feel the same way about the things that we want to help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you know, and please, like I said, thank you for using the hashtag NerdyPaws. It's gotten more traction, and yeah, just please help us out, help the community. We're trying to keep this local. We're trying to make this.
I think that's what people are liking too. That we are like locally focused,
and we're trying to make a little heartbeat. You know. Mm-hmm. You know, within all the heartbeats in El Paso, the art community, you know, the food community,
little piece of sunshine, and
yeah, just a little heartbeat. Like I said, fucking.
So
and what else, man? What else we got for the nerd now?
That's all I got, bro. That seems like a lot. We're like almost an hour and 40 minutes into this.
All right, then I guess we'll just call it in. Shout out to Lloyd Parker. He was trying hard, guys, to be in this episode. Fortunately, you know, life hits you hard, especially when you're going to school and working. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you just got done with your draft.
Yeah, I just finished the draft for my graduate portfolio. Me and Lloyd will get our masters soon. We'll get through this together. But whatever, please, last chance to plug our plugs. Please email us question, comments, or concerns at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com. That is BETWEENNERDS_podcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Twitter at Between Nerds. That's BETWEENNERDS. Shout out to Thomas Zapien for our intro song. Shout out to Javi at Slime Guts on Twitter for our graphics and logo images. Please use hashtag NERDYPAWS, that is Dirty Paws, with a picture of your pet or your favorite anime pet. And that is to not only enter our giveaway for the month of October, but for every hashtag use and retweet or like on tweets that you said hashtag, we will be donating to the El Paso Humane Society. That's a lot. That was a big mouthful.
You got it.
I got it. I am so glad I was able to get through that. Thank you for listening to Between Nerds. My name is Drew Elias.
I'm Aldo Mendez. Join us next week for Erased.
Episode
13.
And this has been Between Nerds. Thank you.